Hello there, my name is Adam. I'm a 3D artist and illustrator, and today I'm going to show you how to make a isometric view on a castle, actually. But not just any castle, a fantasy floating castle. So, let's get started by importing the reference. Let's do Shift A, Image, Reference, make sure to uncheck this, and go to where you saved the reference. So, the one we're going to import is Floating Castle. Load. We select this, rotate in the x-axis 90 GX, and you can scale it down if you want to, but there you go. So, if you want, you can delete the original square, but we're going to use that later. So let's actually keep that for scale for now. Put it right there, because that should be somewhat with the size that we need. Alright, let's do, before we continue, go to Edit, Preferences, go to Input, turn on Emulate 3 button mouse, go to Navigation, turn on Depth, go to Key Mapping, turn on Tab for Pie menu and Extra Shading Pie menu, then go to Add-ons, search for Loop, activate that, and search for Extra, and turn this one on as well, which is Extra Mesh Objects. And done. After that, you can go here and save preferences. Alright, so let's get started with this. Shift A, Mesh, and let's add a rounded cube. Let's go to here and change this to a 2. There we go. And now we can officially get started. So, let's do X-ray. Let's select this and make it slightly more transparent. Let's go here, turn on opacity, and reduce its strength a little. Let's do GX. There we go. Press 1 on the numpad. Now, we have to start tracing it. So, what we're tracing right now is the island. So let's go into edit mode, and let's just start selecting the vertices we need to edit. So the first ones we need to edit are these. G, move them to like about there. Also, don't worry, we're going to add all these details here. We're just making the top part first. Let's select this. It doesn't really matter where you put them, just put them in somewhat in the same area. Let's put these about here. Select both of these. And just keep adjusting it till you think it looks good. And there you go. Let's move this down. Move these down. Yeah, to about there. It doesn't need to be exact. And now we select these. And we do SZ0. We do the same somewhere around here. SZ0. There we go. Just to adjust it. You can always move stuff around if you think it doesn't look good. There we go. Alright. And now what we do is select this top part, X, vertices. And there we go. We have this part of the island. So let's look at it like this now. And this also gives us the depth. So let's get started by sculpting it out. First, get out of edit mode, or rather first do edge selection, select this top edge. You can turn off X-ray to check that you did right. Then you can just scale it in a little bit. Extrude S, and then do M and add center. There we go, just so we get something that looks like this at the top. Don't worry, we're going to start making the castle and stuff in a bit, but for now, we're just making the bottom part. So now that we have this island practically done, right click, shade smooth. There you go. You can fix the normals over here. If we go to map, or normals, there you go. That should fix that. And another thing you can do, before we like edit it or do anything, do Shift D just in case, you know, just have a copy of it. Move it somewhere where you're not going to use it. And then go to the wrench, add a modifier, and let's add a subdivision surface. And let's put levels 5. There we go. So once we add 5, it should look like that. And we just apply. Okay, let's go back into X-ray real quick to see the details. And I guess the easiest way to sculpt this would be by moving the reference here. Don't move this, because we still have to do these other things. Let's do edit and check something real quick. Yeah, that doesn't look good. Let's do Control Z. Z. There we go, to undo most of the stuff. Change this back to a 5. But before we do anything else, in edit mode, do Control R. And add another edge loop here. There we go. Just so the top stays flat, because we need to add water there. We need to add it to the top here as well, but I guess we don't really need it. Alright, let's leave it at that. Now we apply it. There we go. And that should keep the edge sharp there. If we go into edit mode, it looks like this. But now we can get started sculpting. Let's do Shift D, constrain it to the X-axis, and move this over here and use it as reference. So, go into sculpt mode, and we just select this tool here, or this tool optionally. They both kind of do the same, only this one does it more like that. So let's do this one, and start sculpting out the general shape. So, the first part is adding that curb in. You can put the strength up if you want. There we go. And we're just going to try to get the general shape here. You can do Control Z if you think you did a bit too much. There we go. And we get that little point there. You can use the flatten tool to add an edge to stuff. There we go. And that should add like a semi-hard edge there. But let's continue using the sculpt tool here. Let's add another little bit here. Just stay in this like front view. If you need to, you can always press 1 to get a perfect view of how it's looking. And we're not going much for accuracy, but for shape in general, since, you know, sculpting isn't that specific when it comes to a lot of things. And if you're not like very like in tuned on how to use the sculpt tool, don't worry. Once you start using it, it's very intuitive and very simple. And a lot of the times, in fact, I got used to it pretty fast. And that's without any experience with sculpting at all, actually. So, and personally, I do have a lot of fun making stuff with Sculptor tool. Alright. So let's move this to the back. And what it seems like the bottom here is just empty. Let's just increase the strength a little here, because the bottom doesn't really need that many details. And you can sculpt it however you want. There we go. Let's look at the general shape. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's use the scrape tool a little. There. And that lets us scrape little bits a bit more. As for the back here, that really doesn't matter. Let me use this tool. Just make any shape you want for the back. Make like a similar shape if you want to. Doesn't need to look special. And just keep interchanging in between the sculpt tools until you feel like they're satisfying enough. Or like you're satisfied with what you've been doing. Okay. Let me use this tool here. Just a teensy bit. Let me use this one to make a few sharp bits. Make this look a little bit more like a cave. Sometimes it adds little artifacts, and you don't really want that. And sometimes it helps you sharpen a few things. There you go. Just adding a few imperfections. And then we can use this tool as well. Just add a little bit back in. And use this tool as well to cut little slices in. And there. And we can use the smooth tool to smoothen out any things that we don't really like how it looks. Like, for example, I don't like how those look that much. Smooth out a few bits. And now, let's just use the flatten tool to sharpen up the edges a little. So like this. This also adds a little bit of texture to things. There you go. Just sharpening the edges. Don't want anything strange. And make sure the top is smooth. Though it doesn't really matter, since we are going to be adding a few details to it later. Let's use the flatten tool for the top. And make sure it's pretty flat, but not completely. And there we go. We sculpted out some of the parts of the floating island. You can use the pinch tool for these bottom ones. So these ones. And just basically pinch them downwards until they match the reference. Control Z. Let's just press 1. And pinch this one to like about there. And try to pinch it into the shape we're looking. And we can smooth that out. There we go. Keep pinching it a little. Press 1. And now let's pinch. We can use these other ones here as well. There you go. And we can add some background ones as well. Add this one as well. There you go. And remember, you can just use the flatten tool here. Increase the strength quite a bit. And again, don't worry, we can add stuff back in later. Okay. And now, last but not least, we can add a few more details to it by using this tool here. They're more enclosed. And I guess that should be all the detail we need to add. Just trying to get it as similar as we can. You can smooth out a few parts, but I think the sharpness actually adds a little bit of character to it. And now we can get started with the island part. So, let's switch to object mode, deselect that, and let's do Shift A, mesh, and let's use another round cube. It'll already take the shape, GX, move it into its spot. Let's go into X-ray. Let's go into edit mode, vertice selection. Press 1 again, and now we can get back to editing this, except let's select the top part, G, and move it to about there, to where the original island is. You can actually move the bottom part however you want. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to be using that. But now we adjust the shape to this little island here. Move this around and adjust it to the little border here. There we go. Just getting the general shape. Center these a little bit. And make sure to not select the castle too much, since we're going to have to put all the castle parts on top of it later.